Is this part of the plan? Good evening. Wow. Now listen, have you ever been in a situation where life just hit you upside the head? I mean, you standing there looking around like, hold up now, this ain't what I signed up for. You lost a job, the bill's stacking up, your car making a noise that sounds like it's speaking in tongues. You sitting there thinking, is this part of the plan? We all have a vision for how life is supposed to go. You set goals, make plans, and expect everything to fall into place exactly how you imagine. But then, out of nowhere, life throws a curveball. You lose that job you thought was secure, a relationship falls apart, or an opportunity you were counting on slips through your fingers. In that moment, it feels like everything is falling apart. You start questioning yourself, questioning the timing, and most of all, questioning why things didn't work out the way you planned. It's frustrating, confusing, and sometimes even painful. But what if that unexpected detour wasn't a mistake? What if it was necessary to get you where you're really supposed to be? Sometimes we get so locked into our own plans that we can't see a better way. We get comfortable even when we're meant for more. And when we won't move on our own, life has a way of moving us. The job you lost might have been blocking you from an opportunity that will take you higher. That person who walked away may have been keeping you from the love that will truly fulfill you. The situation that didn't work out could have been protecting you from something you couldn't even see coming. A detour is not the same as a dead end. When you're driving and you see a detour sign, it doesn't mean you won't reach your destination, just you have to take a different route. It might be longer, it might be unfamiliar, but if you stay on the path, you'll get where you're supposed to go. The same is true in life. When something doesn't go as planned, it doesn't mean your dreams are over. It means there's another way, and that way is often better than what you had in mind. Most of the time, when we look back on the things that didn't work out, we realize they actually worked in our favor. The things we cried over, stressed over, and thought would break us were actually shaping us, guiding us, and making us stronger. Life's detours don't mean failure, they mean redirection. And sometimes the best blessings come from the places we never expected to end. DUP struggles have a way of making you feel like you're stuck, like you're being punished, or like life is working against you. When you're in the middle of it, nothing makes sense. You start questioning why things keep going wrong and why every step forward seems to come with 2 steps back. It's frustrating when you're doing everything you can, but you're still not where you want to be. You work hard, you pray, you stay patient, and yet the obstacles keep coming. It's easy to feel defeated, to wonder if maybe what you're chasing isn't meant for you. But what if your struggles are actually shaping you for what's next? Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Strength isn't built in easy seasons. Everything you're going through is preparing you for something greater. Every setback is teaching you something: resilience, discipline, patience, wisdom. The very things that feel like they're holding you back might be the things that are pushing you toward your purpose. The struggle is not the end of your story, it's part of the foundation being built under you. If everything came easy, you wouldn't be ready for the blessings ahead. Success without struggle doesn't last. You need the process, you need the lessons. You need the hardships that teach you how to keep going even when you feel like quitting. Some of the strongest people you know, the ones who inspire you, didn't get there by accident. They got there because they went through some things that forced them to grow. They faced rejection, loss, failure, and disappointment, but they didn't let it define them. They let it refine them. You may not see it now, but the things that are challenging you today are building you for tomorrow. That closed door, that rejection, that unexpected turn of events, none of it is wasted. The moments that test you the most are often the ones that shape you the most. When things get tough, it's not a sign to give up. It's a sign that you're in the middle of your transformation. Every great success story includes a chapter of struggle. It's not the easiest part of the journey, but it's the part that makes everything else possible. When life is going well, you don't question it. When the money is flowing, when the opportunities are coming, when everything seems to be working in your favor, you don't stop and ask, is this really supposed to be happening? You just embrace it, celebrate it, and keep moving forward. But the moment things start to go wrong, the moment you hit a rough patch, suddenly the questions start pouring in. Why me? Why now? What did I do to deserve this? You start doubting the process, doubting your progress, and sometimes even doubting yourself. It's human nature to want clarity, to want answers. But the truth is, the plan is not always meant to be understood while you're in the middle of it. There are going to be times when life feels unfair, when the struggle feels unnecessary, when you feel like you're being tested beyond your limits. You pray for things to get better, but instead they seem to get worse. You look around and wonder why it feels like you're the only one dealing with setback after setback. But just because you don't see the purpose in it now doesn't mean there isn't one. Think about the times in your life when things didn't go your way. At that moment, it felt like everything was falling apart. You might have even believed it was the worst thing that could have happened. But then months or even years later, you look back and realize that what felt like a loss was actually a lesson. That thing you were crying over ended up pushing you towards something better. That situation that had you feeling defeated turned out to be exactly what you needed to grow. The problem is we want answers immediately. We want to know why something is happening and we want to know right now. But life doesn't work like that. You don't get to see the full picture while you're still in the middle of it. You have to keep moving, keep trusting, and keep believing even when it doesn't make sense. Growth happens in uncertainty. Strength is built in the moments when you feel like giving up but choose to keep going anyway. The plan may not always be clear, but that doesn't mean it's not working in your favor. That sometimes life has a way of breaking you down just when you thought everything was coming together. You're doing your best, making progress, feeling like you're finally getting ahead, and then suddenly, boom, something happens that knocks the wind out of you. A door you thought was open slams shut. A relationship you thought would last falls apart. An opportunity you worked so hard for slips right through your fingers. You sit there frustrated, hurt, and confused, wondering why life keeps testing you when all you've been trying to do is move forward. It's in moments like these that you start questioning everything. Maybe you start blaming yourself, thinking if you had done something different, things wouldn't have gone wrong. Maybe you start feeling like you're not good enough, like no matter how hard you try, things just don't work out for you. It's hard to stay positive when life keeps handing you challenges. It's hard to believe that things will get better when all you see in front of you is struggle. But the thing about life is that what looks like a breakdown is often a breakthrough in disguise. Growth doesn't happen without discomfort. A seed has to break through the dirt before it can rise into the sunlight. A butterfly has to struggle to escape the cocoon before it can spread its wings. And sometimes life has to break you down in order to rebuild you into something stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's ahead. The problem is, when you're in the middle of that breakdown, all you see is the struggle. You don't realize that what feels like an ending is actually the beginning of something greater. Think about a time when something didn't go the way you wanted, but later you realized it was for the best. Maybe you didn't get that job, but it led you to something even better. Maybe that relationship ended, but it made space for the right person to come into your life. The hardest moments are often the ones that push you to the next level. It may not feel like it when you're in it, but sometimes life is removing things that no longer serve you so you can step into something bigger. Struggle is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of transformation. There are moments in life when everything feels unfair. You go through struggles, heartbreaks, disappointments, and setbacks that leave you wondering why things had to happen the way they did. At the time, it feels like you're losing. It feels like life is working against you, and no matter what you do, nothing seems to go right. You pray for things to get better, but instead they get harder. You put in the effort, but the results don't match. You start questioning everything, wondering if all of this struggle even has a purpose. But then something happens, time passes, you find yourself in a better place, surrounded by better opportunities, living a life that feels more aligned with who you truly are. And one day, out of nowhere, it hits you. If that situation hadn't happened, you wouldn't be where you are now. If that door hadn't closed, you wouldn't have found the right one. If that person hadn't left, you wouldn't have made space for the right people to enter your life. The very things that you once thought were breaking you were actually shaping you. The struggle you thought would destroy you was the very thing that made you stronger. Life has a way of revealing its lessons when you least expect it. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes the reason you appreciate joy so much more. The setbacks that once made you feel like a failure turn out to be redirections towards something even greater. The experiences that once had you questioning everything end up being the key moments that built you into the person you were meant to become. It's hard to see it when you're in the middle of it. It's hard to believe that the disappointment, the rejection, and the uncertainty all serve a greater purpose. But if you look back on your life, you'll realize that the dots always connect. Every moment, every challenge, every unexpected twist played a role in leading you to where you are today. You may not understand it in the moment, but one day you'll look back and realize that everything, even the hardest moments, were all part of the process of getting you exactly where you needed to be. Thanks for watching.